Cochise was born around 1805 in what is now southeastern Arizona or northern Mexico. He emerged as a leader of the Chiricahua Apache at a time when their world was closing in. For generations, the Chiricahua had lived by mobility, hunting, trading, raiding, and adapting to the deserts and mountains that outsiders found unforgiving. To Cochise, those lands were not obstacles but shields. The turning point in his life came in 1861 with the Bascom Affair. An inexperienced U.S. Army lieutenant wrongly accused Cochise of kidnapping a settler's child. During what was supposed to be a parley, Cochise was seized. He escaped by cutting his way out of a tent, but several of his relatives were captured and later executed. It appears that most historians on the topic believe the child was actually kidnapped by a different Apache group unrelated to the Chiricahua. He was eventually found far from Cochise's territory. From Cochise's perspective, diplomacy had been answered with betrayal. The result was a decade of brutal warfare across Arizona and New Mexico. Cochise was not merely a raider, he was a strategist. Using the Dragoon and Chiricahua Mountains as natural fortresses, his warriors struck swiftly and vanished into terrain the U.S. Army barely understood. Despite overwhelming numbers and resources, federal forces found it nearly impossible to capture him. Cochise knew when to fight and when not to. His goal was not conquest, but deterrence, to make Apache land too costly to take. Yet Cochise was also capable of trust when he believed it was earned. One of the most remarkable relationships of his life was with Tom Jeffords, a former scout and mail carrier who approached Cochise alone, unarmed. Jeffords' courage and honesty won Cochise's respect, and the two became friends. Through Jeffords, Cochise eventually entered peace negotiations with General Oliver Howard. In 1872, Cochise agreed to peace on one critical condition, that his people be allowed to remain on their ancestral land. The Chiricahua Reservation was established in southeastern Arizona. For a brief moment, Cochise achieved what few indigenous leaders had, peace without surrender. Cochise died in 1874, likely of natural causes, and was buried in a secret location in the Dragoon Mountains. His death marked the end of an era. Within a few years, his people were removed from their land despite earlier promises. Today, Cochise is remembered not only as a fierce warrior, but as a leader who understood power, restraint, and dignity. He fought because he believed his people had a right to exist on their own terms.